Kevin, what an amazing event you and your team and the entire Singapore country organized. Must be feeling relieved right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy that the event went relatively incident-free, and glad that everyone had a good time and the match concluded well, I think. Everyone seemed to be happy, so yeah, looking forward to closing up the event. We have some finances to settle and we can think about the year ahead.
I think now is a good time to just go through the entire process because it had been a long journey, maybe close to 5 months or so.
Yeah.
Firstly, when you got to know that the match is coming to Singapore, as compared to now, what has transpired, how happy are you with the fact that Singapore bid for it, Singapore Chess Federation was involved and so on? What's your experience like?
Yeah, I really think that the whole bidding process, having it approved, it's really a tremendous team effort from my government and also certain private players in Singapore. My board members, the local organizing committee, the team members, I think we considered every single aspect of the match, who the key figures in the committee should be. I think all these things there's a lot of thought being placed into it. I want to start by saying we would never have gone close if it wasn't for the support from Sport Singapore. Minister Edwin Tong especially, who was instrumental in spearheading this from the governmental standpoint. And the operations team from Sport Singapore as well, from the technology industry and innovation department from Sport Singapore. Yeah, they were there every part of the way. We have like meetings every 2 weeks to 3 weeks discussing certain issues, and because they are so experienced in organizing big events, they could point us in the right direction on several occasions. So that's really key. Google, Mr. Scott Baumann, of course, who was very prompt and supportive, came on board really quickly, loved the idea from the start, and he pushed for it as well. So having Google as a presenting sponsor of the match definitely also improved our chances of winning the bid. I think during the entire bidding process and up to the point when we knew that we were about to win, I think these things are super critical. The planning stage, getting the EMC, event management company, team involved, the broadcasting team, the Manos, Manos folks, our local team, Citrus. And I think I also want to acknowledge the organizing committee itself. So Mr. Jimmy Tan, I think he's super instrumental in putting everything together. He's basically the sergeant major, like running around, commanding everybody and everything. We have Brendan, who's responsible for broadcasting and production. He's such a young chap, and he has done a lot of esports. So he has never done chess, but he was up to the challenge. He wanted to make sure that the event does not fall below the standards of how an esports event should look like. So that was his objective. He definitely delivered. There were some teething issues, but we managed to sort it out in the end. Then Miss Lim Bixia, she basically takes care of the transportation and hospitality of every single guest that comes for the match. And that was an absolute nightmare because we are not just talking about the match. There's the Singapore Open. We have grandmasters coming, 40 of them who have conditions. We have to make sure that their transport is being taken care of. Right? I
also experienced her hospitality. Yeah. She is amazing.
She's a godsend. Many days she was at the airport from 6 to 8 a.m. Stayed there to the end of the day, comes back to Resorts World, continues to handle requests from guests. And you don't see her very often because she's always moving about, right? And I want to say a bit more about this piece because it's the most unglamorous piece of the match. You are not at the match venue. You are not there and you don't get to see Vichy. You don't get to see Ho Yifan or Kostanu or any of these great stars. You don't get to enter the playing hall to watch the match. Instead, she was at Harbourfront, making sure the bus transport is going well. She will be at Aura, making sure that the bus for the press conference is doing well. Things like that are not exactly desirable, I would say. Not the most enjoyable things to do, but she said, no, this is important. I want to make sure that this is done well. So she really went ahead to look after every single piece together with a couple of younger folks who listen to her. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful to Pixia and her energy. She will keep saying that I'm not a chess player, I'm a chess mom, I'm just an old auntie. That's his favorite phrase, I'm just an auntie. But she's a very capable and passionate auntie who really wanted to make sure the event is top notch. Yeah, so very grateful to my core team who really put in the hours, spend the whole day from morning to night, and yeah, just very glad to have the opportunity to share this. So there were so many important parties that contributed to the organizing of this event. So Sports Singapore, of course, was very crucial. Singapore Tourism Board, who also provided valuable advice as to certain nice spots in Singapore that we could showcase the match. Also contributed in terms of ideas for the opening ceremony. Just various activations that could be helpful to bring Singapore to a better light. Right? So that's something that we are super appreciative of. We also cannot forget FIDE. So I know Emil Sotowski is very busy with the World Rapid and Blitz Championships right now. So he might not see this, but yeah, definitely he and his team have worked very closely, cohesively with us. There will always be some kind of disagreements here and there, but we always manage to resolve them in a very amicable way. So, I mean, FIDE being the global chess federation, like almost every international federations out there get criticized a lot. It's very easy to criticize, right? But I have the privilege of watching their team really put in the hours, putting their heart and soul into the project. So all kudos to them. I hope that the LOC has made the whole experience enjoyable for the FIDE team. Yeah, so grateful to have such good partners.
As someone who has hosted the match now, if let's say in future people want to host it, what do you think are the benefits that come along with hosting such a match in a country?
I think there are 2 or 3 things that you should set as objectives from the beginning. So I definitely building connections to organizations who might want to support chess in the future, and you should be there to explain to them the entire process, tell them what the players are doing, the format of the match, why you think that there's a lot of exposure, why chess is beneficial to young children and people from various communities, including the underserved ones. I think these are things that are not being explained well enough to corporate organizations. Because to a lot of these companies, they might think that chess is just a game. If I want to do something that's humanitarian, I will donate money to Red Cross. I will send money to war-torn regions. Why would I bother with a board game? Then the next thing they will question is chess is Singapore is a rich country. And sports is doing well in Singapore, so why should chess be getting special attention? So I think explaining different narratives and having these narratives fit the goals of these organizations could be quite important, and that could help to maybe build on these partnerships in the future. So these are things that I feel is quite important, and I will continue to work on this. The second thing is really have as much publicity as you can. I mean, in terms of showcasing chess and why it's not just educational, because that we have spoken about, but also fun, and it's cool, and it's for young people. So when the media came, we made it a point to explain to them the demographics of the attendance. Like, we have a lot of young children, kids as young as 5. They will be there queuing up. For example, in the meet and greet session in the last day, we have people queuing up from 1 p.m. You don't think that this is what happens to a chess player, right? And that's the queue for Ding, who lost the match. Can you imagine the queue for Gukesh? So at the end we have to even delay the closing ceremony because we took so long to clear the crowd. But that's something that should be emphasized to the media, to say that chess is a rising game that is very popular, is useful for young children, is far healthier than looking at screens all day. So I think these are the showcases that we really want to sort of leverage on the publicity of the match.
So basically getting in new players, new sponsors into the fold, and also kind of setting the right way in which chess is looked at.
That's
can
correct.
be a very important thing that the match can help be a catalyst for.
Definitely. Like, I really think that we as chess players who know the game well, we have to bring something to the public. Because just telling them to look at chess isn't enough. I think you have to really explain to them why. For example, the next key items that my team and I will be looking into would be maybe chess for kids with special needs, maybe kids with ASD, ADHD, and why chess can be beneficial to these kids. Maybe you could help them to stave off medication, right? And when you explain these narratives to people, they immediately felt like, oh, okay, learning chess can help my child who has ADHD not have the need for medication. That's a very powerful message. And how we try to build common narratives with people will be very important. Everybody knows a person with a disability. I believe almost everybody will know somebody who has ADHD or who has some kind of impairment, whether it's physical or visual. So something that we will work on.
And what was the most difficult aspect for you personally in this match?
I think it's just the overall logistics and the so many things to look at, and it's very, very easy to lose control. So I will have to credit Mr. Jimmy Tan, super organized. He will come with his notebook and he will write his to-do list. And the two of us, we will look at every single event from a chronological point of view, right? So it's first day, 23rd November, we have an opening ceremony. On the 25th is day 1, and then fan zone. Who's coming to the fan zone? Fan zone 1, fan zone 2. And then the next day, 26th, we have somebody doing a VIP event, followed by fan zone events. So just every single aspect of the match, including the various side events, which amount to about 40 to 50, including the fan zone, it's like a 40 event kind of festival.
So what you are trying to say is that, let's say an event like World Cup will have so many players coming in.
Yeah.
Here there are mainly two, that is Gukesh and Ding. But there are many side events, there are many other officials, there are team members, all of this has to be taken care of.
Precisely. Like, for example, on the first day, on the 24th, that's a rest day, nothing's going on. But we invited Grandmaster Xie Jun to open the National Age Group Chess Championships. So somebody got to bring her there, got to explain to her what's the event about, why it's meaningful for kids, and plan her opening address. Even things like that. You can't let the guests just sit around, right? Like, or hey, take a Grab, go to the place yourself. You can't do that. You have to look after her. So that's just one part of 30 to 40 different smaller events that we have to be very mindful of.
So actually there are people doing different things at different point of time, which is what makes logistics tough. If there were many people doing the same thing, perhaps it could have been easier.
Yeah, because every event is a bit different. Even simultaneous exhibition, we decided to do a tandem one at the end, just to make it a little bit different, right? Our master classes are also different. We even had master classes during the rest day. That was from David Howard and Jovi Huska, because they can only do it on rest days. But we decided not to do any more rest days events because we understood the concept of a rest day is to rest. So we decided, okay, guys, let's just chill and not do this sort of self-induced stress and work that maybe is not super necessary. But I think overall we try to make it very fun and flavorful for people who come. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the match? Being a grandmaster yourself, did you enjoy the chess aspect of it? Did you think? What are your thoughts about Gukesh becoming the world champion and Ding's
Yeah.
so-called fighting spirit here, which he displayed brilliantly?
I think it's very interesting to see Ding playing at his best when he's really up against it, right? Like game one, all the pressure is on him. Gukesh is a young 18-year-old chap, first world championship he's taking wide. He has the world, basically his home country behind him. Everybody thinks he's going to win. We expect a resounding victory from game one. And Ding was against his back. Gukesh visibly seemed to have some nerves at the start, made some really weird decisions, and suddenly the moves just kept coming, right? For example, very impressed with this quick succession of moves. Like you can claim that these are easy moves, yeah? Like I know Boris Gelfand was at the commentary room and he was like, yeah, knight b2, instantly. But these are not things to take for granted when we come to when we talk about Ding these days, right? So knight b2 played quickly, queen c4, queen d3, f5, bishop g5, all these moves that were very, very easy for him. They should be easy for him of his caliber, but we don't really know whether that side of him will show in this match. Yeah, so that was interesting. I think when the score was tight, then Gukesh, obviously we understood the strategy from the team now that he's intent on playing for a win every game, making the game as long as possible to tire the opponent down. All this is great. It's great. It's a great attitude towards the match. It's a good showcase of the sport in general that you are always trying to win. I remember, this incident when Gukesh was exchange down and then he played queen a2, right? And Vichy was in the VIP lounge and his jaw dropped. I wish I could have taken a picture. And he came to me and asked, what do you guys treat your water in Singapore? So I think this mindset that if I'm not worse, I should play, I think it's very healthy. Obviously it can backfire, right? But only by trying do you know whether that you can get more out of the position, right? So it's a great example. Then for Ding, I feel, after he won this great game, right? We all spoke about it. When Gukesh was also out of sorts. Then game 13, he somehow survived. And then after that, he had this quick press interview where he said that game 14 is not going to be a short draw. And I was like, wow, that is a show of defiance. And then he came with this, and suddenly from a better position, basically from the opening, things just went very, very, very strangely. This decision to play a4 and giving up the pawn for free and all these things, just very, very odd. Very not something that you expect, right? I think most players were critical of Ding. I think they have every right to do so. I think Ding himself recognizes it. The match ended very abruptly, but in a way, I think it's the right result because the guy who plays more ambitiously eventually was rewarded, and there's nothing more to be said about it. But I feel like if Ding had the right mindset and mentality, the match could have gone in his favor. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Were you guys preparing for the tie break?
We were trying to discuss how to release the news. We already have the EDM to send it out to people saying that, oh, here's where you'll buy the tickets. We agree on the pricing for the tickets and trying to figure out what's the nice balance of managing the crowd and also making sure as many people can come as possible. So we are not going to charge $3,000 for regular tickets. That would be unfair. But we were trying to think of something that's reasonable. And just all of a sudden, the match was over. Yeah, it was so surprising. But in a way, maybe it brought some relief to Ding that he no longer has this pressure, no more press conferences to attend. and they also brought a lot of relief to the organizing committee, in a way, because okay, we don't have to plan for the tiebreaker. We finished the closing ceremony and everything's good. Yeah.
You know, I spent like couple of days at Sentosa right now, and I saw the region and I saw how it is, the island, and I felt like it is not a place where one would have thought to organize a world championship.
Yeah.
You know, it has so much of fun, there's so much of noise, so many things happening. There are beaches, people are on a
Yeah.
vacation, relaxed. But somehow this space of the Aquarius Hotel and this looked very, very ideal to do it. I don't know how this, even this
Yeah.
small spot or, you know, this small place or a hotel or a resort was found in Sentosa to do it.
So I think these conversations were entered into, before the bid was submitted. So we had a few possible venues. Marina Bay Sands was definitely one of those. Then we had Resorts World Sentosa, because these are the two integrated resorts we have. It just kind of makes sense to go to them. And when we look at Aquarius Hotel, we just thought it's the perfect venue, because even though it's in Sentosa, right? But like you said, it's a bit further away from the noise. There's the Adventure Water Cove Park, which I had a bit of concern, like, because there was like music, boom, 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 boom. I wasn't sure whether the players in the hall could hear, but then we realized that it wasn't a problem. So I think this is the fact that they were placed kind of away from the crowd. There is a forest trail right next to it if you want to go for a scenic walk. The casino is away. The Universal Studio is at Aura, nearer to the Hotel Aura side. So all these things make me feel like Aquarius is actually quite a good place, because the distractions are there, but only if you really want to be distracted. Yeah. And the scenery from the rooms are also quite nice. There's like the forest view.
No, the place is beautiful.
Yeah. So we just thought that it kind of makes sense. And also the two players who seem to have very calm demeanors, and they probably prefer quiet more than like city life. So Marina Bay Sands would have been the ideal choice if you wanted a bustling kind of vibes, and very busy. There are people everywhere. But then we considered like the personalities of the players. Okay, I think this makes the most sense.
And in this match, there were a lot of VIPs who came in. There was Vishy Anand.
Yeah.
There were many world champions. Ho Yifan was there. Zhi
Yeah.
Jun was there.
Yeah.
You also had Demish Hassabis, who made his visit, which is even very rare considering he's now a Nobel laureate.
Yeah.
So. How was it to have these people at the match? And for you, I think you were personally taking care of all of them, speaking to them.
Yeah, I'm just super grateful, because all of them, for one reason or another, all wanted to support the match. So Demis has just come off winning the Nobel Prize for his work in chemistry, of course, and we all are very proud that a chess player has built on his earlier work with AlphaZero, and won the most prestigious award possible on the planet, right? And he also has a Singapore connection, right? So that's,
Which is?
I believe, if I'm not wrong, I think his mom or somebody was, I need to check that, but I think his mom was born in Singapore.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's definitely a Singaporean connection as well, same as David Howard, his mom is Singaporean. So very grateful that we have all these guests coming in, and very easy to work with. Vishy Anand, for example, that's an absolute legend. Just very kind and generous with his time, and always ready to take a picture with his rowdy group of fans. Sometimes, you know how it is. People get excited, kind of forget that you need to give the celebrity some space, but he's always gracious. So yeah, just grateful for all of them that they managed to come to support us.
Amazing. Kevin, you became the CEO of Singapore Chess Federation in which year?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think in 2 years you managed to transform so many things. I was talking to some players from Singapore, and they are all pretty happy about how things are going on in the federation, the training programs and so on. And now with this match, I think you are really bringing forth Singapore on the world map. So a huge congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very, very happy, of course, that the match has gone successfully. I'm excited to see what next year will look like. 2 years, in 2 years, what's going to look like. At the heart of it, I'm still a chess player and I'm competitive. I would like Singapore to have a strong chess team.